The first punch never landed on my face. It landed on my marriage. It happened on a bright Saturday morning, under a clear blue sky, in front of nearly 100 people gathered outside an upscale boxing academy. My wife's coach smiled as if he had already won. My wife stood beside him without saying a word. Friends pulled out their phones. Strangers whispered. Someone laughed and said that an old office worker was about to learn a painful lesson. They saw an ordinary man with tired eyes, simple clothes, and quiet manners. What they didn't see was the life I had buried years earlier, a life filled with impossible missions, silent sacrifices, and the brotherhood of the Navy SEALs. I had promised myself never to fight again unless there was no other choice. That morning, someone made it personal. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, humility, and second chances are stronger than pride, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to Dad's Soul Diaries. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Most people believe betrayal happens in a single moment, but it usually begins with tiny cracks no one notices. Mine started months earlier. My wife, Vanessa, had decided she wanted to get into boxing after watching several championship matches on television. I encouraged her from the beginning because she had always struggled with confidence, and I believed learning a sport would make her stronger both physically and mentally. She joined an expensive boxing club where everyone admired the head coach, Victor Mercer. He was younger than me, taller, louder, and loved being the center of attention. Every social media post showed him surrounded by trophies, expensive cars, and students praising him like a celebrity. I never felt threatened because confidence doesn't come from comparison. It comes from knowing exactly who you are. I worked as a maintenance supervisor at a children's hospital. It wasn't glamorous. My hands smelled like machine oil more often than expensive cologne. I fixed broken elevators, repaired heating systems, and made sure the hospital never stopped running. Every day I watched frightened children smile because the lights stayed on and the machines kept working. That mattered more to me than applause. Years before, I had served as a Navy SEAL. After countless deployments and losing brothers I still dreamed about, I walked away from military life. I didn't leave because I was weak. I left because I wanted peace. I wanted mornings filled with coffee instead of gunfire and evenings filled with family instead of silence. Vanessa knew about my military past, but only the surface. I never shared the details. Some memories belong to the ocean forever. As weeks passed, she spent more time at the gym than at home. Conversations became shorter. Smiles became rarer. Every time Victor's name came up, she defended him with unusual passion. She admired his confidence, his discipline, and his ambition. I simply listened. Love sometimes means giving people room to discover who they are, even if that journey hurts you. One sunny afternoon, I surprised Vanessa by bringing lunch to the gym. Through the glass wall, I noticed Victor standing unusually close to her. They laughed together while reviewing training footage. When they saw me, the laughter stopped. Victor looked me up and down with a smile that wasn't friendly. It was the smile of someone who believed he had already measured another man. From that day forward, he found excuses to mock me whenever I visited. He joked about my simple clothes. He called me the hospital handyman. He laughed at my quiet personality, telling everyone that real men dominate every room they enter. I answered every insult with calm silence. The members mistook silence for weakness. The truth was simple. I had seen enough violence to know that the loudest man is rarely the strongest. Rumors spread quickly around the gym. Some members hinted that Victor and Vanessa had become inseparable. I refused to believe gossip. Trust is built over years and shouldn't collapse because of whispers. Still, every evening she returned home later than before. Sometimes she barely looked at me. The distance between us grew until our home felt like two strangers renting the same apartment. Then came Family Fitness Day, an event where members invited relatives to celebrate the academy. There were demonstrations, competitions, music, and food trucks parked outside under the bright afternoon sun. Vanessa insisted I attend. She said it would help me understand her new world. I arrived wearing jeans and a plain navy shirt. Victor arrived like a movie star. Everyone gathered around the outdoor ring built for exhibition matches. Cameras were everywhere. Children played nearby while adults cheered for friendly sparring sessions. Then Victor grabbed the microphone. He smiled at the crowd before pointing directly at me. He announced that every champion needed one volunteer from the audience. Then he invited Vanessa's husband into the ring, saying it would be a harmless demonstration. The crowd laughed before I even moved. I politely declined. That should have been the end. Instead, Victor continued humiliating me. He questioned whether I was afraid. He suggested Vanessa deserved someone stronger. Then, with the confidence of a man who had never been truly tested, he wrapped an arm around my wife's shoulder. The entire crowd turned toward me. I looked at Vanessa. She didn't step away. That hurt more than every wound I'd ever carried. Something inside me quietly broke. Not my patience. My illusion. I climbed into the ring. There was no anger on my face. Only disappointment. Victor bounced confidently, showing off combinations for the audience. He wore expensive gloves, custom shorts, and years of competitive boxing experience. The announcer reminded everyone this was only entertainment. I removed my watch. Folded my jacket. Placed both neatly on a chair. Then I stood completely still. Victor circled me with exaggerated confidence. He expected fear. Instead, he found complete calm. The kind of calm earned after surviving places where mistakes never received second chances. The first punch came fast. It missed. Not because I moved dramatically. Because I shifted half an inch. The second combination missed too. The crowd laughed, assuming Victor was playing around. He wasn't. His breathing changed. His smile disappeared. Every attack became more desperate. I continued avoiding every strike with minimal movement. Old instincts awakened without permission. Years of close-quarters combat had taught me that wasting energy loses fights. People slowly stopped cheering. They started watching. Victor finally rushed forward with everything he had. For the first time, I moved decisively. I slipped beside him. Controlled his balance. Guided his momentum. And gently placed him flat on the canvas without throwing a single punch. Silence covered the academy. Victor stared upward in disbelief. He had lost. Without being hit. I stepped back immediately and offered my hand to help him stand. He refused. His pride hurt far more than his body. Someone in the audience shouted that it was luck. Another demanded a rematch. Victor stood again, furious. He charged without waiting. This time, I protected myself. One controlled movement. One clean counter. One precise body shot. Victor collapsed onto one knee, unable to breathe for several seconds. No celebration followed. No victory pose. No raised fists. I simply waited until he recovered. The crowd no longer looked at me with amusement. They looked with confusion. An elderly veteran who had been watching quietly approached the ring. His eyes stayed locked on mine before he slowly saluted. Without saying another word, he nodded. He knew. Only another soldier recognizes certain movements. News spread quickly through the crowd. Someone asked if I had boxed professionally. Another guessed mixed martial arts. Finally, the veteran answered before I could. He calmly explained that those movements weren't from sports. They belong to someone trained to survive impossible situations. People's expressions changed immediately. Victor heard every word. His confidence disappeared. Vanessa stood frozen near the ropes, realizing she had never truly known the man she married. For years she believed my quiet nature came from lack of ambition. In reality, it came from carrying memories too heavy to describe. The event ended awkwardly. People apologized for laughing earlier. Several parents thanked me for showing restraint instead of humiliation. That mattered more than winning. When everyone left, Vanessa walked toward me with tears filling her eyes. She admitted she had mistaken kindness for weakness and silence for fear. She confessed that Victor constantly compared me to himself until she slowly started believing those comparisons. She realized too late that confidence built by putting others down isn't confidence at all. Forgiveness isn't easy. Especially when trust has been damaged. We spent weeks talking honestly for the first time in months. Marriage counseling followed. Healing happened slowly, not magically. Some scars faded. Others remained as reminders to protect what truly matters. Victor eventually left the academy after several members complained about his behavior. Months later, he publicly apologized for letting his ego destroy both his career and his character. I accepted the apology because carrying bitterness is another kind of prison. Life returned to ordinary routines. I fixed elevators. Made coffee every morning. Helped frightened children smile at the hospital. And every evening I remembered something the Navy had taught me long ago. Real strength isn't measured by how many people you can defeat. It's measured by how many battles you choose to walk away from. The greatest victory of my life wasn't winning a fight in front of strangers. It was refusing to become the angry man everyone expected me to be. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and tell us in the comments what true strength means to you. Your support helps Dad's Soul Diaries continue sharing stories that remind us kindness will always outlast pride. Special request, comment below with the words, "True strength is humility." As the sun slowly set on that unforgettable day, I realized the brightest victories rarely happen under spotlights. They happen quietly, inside the human heart, when pride loses, forgiveness wins, and a person chooses compassion over revenge. That is the kind of victory no trophy can ever represent, and it is the one I hope every person listening to this story experiences someday. The strongest warriors are not those who fight every challenge, they are the ones who know exactly when peace is worth more than proving a point. And in the end, that choice saved far more than my pride. It saved the man I had worked so hard to become.